Hey everyone, welcome to What's Up with Pastor Chuck. And I want to say I'm excited to be on with you. And what I'm about to share may not sound exciting, but I want to know how you're feeling right now. Because I believe that a lot of us, and this was going to include me, I'm tired of a lot of what we're facing. I'm tired of what we're going through. And is anybody else out there tired right now? Are you just tired? And so I'm going to take you to a passage of scripture that you might not normally think of to talk about in a time like this. And it's Psalm 120, but let me give you some background on it. Psalm 120 is the first of what's called the Psalms of the Ascent. Psalms of the Ascent, or songs. A psalm is a song. The songs of the ascent. And those are the psalms that are 120, Psalm 120 through 134. So those psalms actually speak to the heart of how people feel when they want to travel from where they are into the presence of God. The Jewish people who loved God, the ones who loved God, would more than once a year travel from wherever they were in the known world of that day to go to the city of Jerusalem and to ascend Temple Mount and to go in what they felt was the presence of the Lord. Jesus would have made that trip many, many times. Matter of fact, we have one of those times described in a very powerful way when Mary and Joseph lose Jesus, which, okay, anybody else? I think the last thing you want to do is lose your child, but when your child is the Son of God and the hope of the world, you really don't want to lose them. But they did. They lost Jesus. But Jesus would have gone on this trip. And what people did is as they began to go, they would travel in community groups, and they would sing these psalms. They would obviously sing them over and over and sing them in different stages. When they got to the steps to ascend up to Temple Mount, they very often might even sing the psalms on each of certain steps that ascended in. And the reason it's called the Psalms of the Ascent is because Temple Mount was actually on a high temple mount, and Jerusalem's on a mountain. And so people, what they would do is wherever they're traveling from, they would leave wherever they were, the valley of despair, the valley of the shadow of death, the valley of chaos, the valley of violence, and they would ascend into the presence of the Lord, a place of peace, a place of healing, of joy and love. So right now, I want you to think about that before I read this psalm to you. I want you to think about how the people felt, because I don't know about you. I'm not unaware. I'm very aware of the hurt that's out there, but I want healing. I'm aware of the pain that's out there, but I want people to find comfort. I'm aware of the anger that's out there, and there's so much anger. I find in situations that there's what I tell a lot of our staff, you can't win. If you say this, there'll be one group who gets mad at you. If you say that, the other one will. And if you don't use the right words, there's very little grace sometimes. Now, I don't want to send the message that I'm going to check out, or I'm not going to be involved, or I'm not going to be willing to enter in to trying to bring a solution and help and healing. I believe the church needs to be actively involved right now. So I'm not saying that, but I do say this. This particular psalm is the first psalm that says, I want to get away from things like that. I want to go to a place where God is close. His presence is powerful. His love is pervasive. I want to go there. And that's what this psalm's about. This first psalm of the Psalms of the Ascent, the songs of the ascent, are about going to a place like that. So anybody out there right now that you're tired of how certain people are acting. You're tired of the stress that you're under. You're tired of the fear you're facing. You're tired of the unknown. You're tired of the chaos. You're tired of turning on the news and seeing it again and again and again. This psalm's for you. And this psalm is about our world and our times in a very real way. So what does it say? The very first of the songs of the ascent says, Psalm 120, verse 1, I took my troubles to the Lord. Notice he starts out by focusing on the fact there are troubles. I've got pain. I've got troubles, God. So I want to move closer to you. I took my troubles to the Lord. I cried out to him, and he answered my prayer. Rescue me, O Lord, from all liars and from all deceitful people. O deceptive tongue, what will God do to you? How will he increase your punishment? By the way, I want to say this. I'm really getting tired of all the lies that are out there. There's a lot of things that are being said in a lot of different mediums and media outlets. They're not true. There are things that are being said about people that aren't right. And so there's a lot of lying going on. I would say this for all those who are part of the black community, you know, a lot of lies have been said about what you're facing. And you've been crying out for us to see the truth. And you might say, I'm just tired of people lying. There are lots of us who feel that way too, and not just in the black community, in all communities. We're just so tired of the lies that are being said. I the other day sat down with my grandson, and he said, Papa, I searched for you on Google. And I said, oh, you did? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, Liam, let me kind of give you a heads up. Not everything you read about me is going to be true. You need to know that, buddy. And he goes, oh, I know. And I said, so if you ever wonder, give me a chance. But I said, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And I want you to know that. And I hate to have to tell my grandson that. But I know some of you have endured worse than I have. Some of you get more arrows shot at you than I do. But have you ever felt like that? I'm just tired of this, Lord. I just pray for an end to all the lying and all the deceit. And in verse 4, listen to what he said. You will be pierced with sharp arrows and burned with glowing coals. He's talking about the people who are lying. In other words, you're not going to get away with it. I'm going to begin my movement towards God by saying, God, I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of deceit. And I know those who practice that will not get away with it. And then in verse 5, he says this, how I suffer in far off Meshach. It pains me to live in distant Kedar. Now, what does that mean? It meant that this particular psalmist said, I'm far, far, far from the temple of God, from the hills of Jerusalem, from the presence of God. I'm a long ways in my travel. I have to go on an incredible pilgrimage to get away from where I am to where I want to go. But I'm going to make the trip because God, look around me. God, see. God, know what I'm dealing with. Know that I'm in the midst of a people who don't want your ways. I'm in the midst of a people who don't want the attitude you want us to have. I'm in the midst of a people that I can't trust and that actually I have to be careful because I don't know what they'll do to me sometimes. I'm in the midst of a people who would, in a moment, turn on me and want me to go down. And they wouldn't be a part of lifting me up. That's what he said I'm dealing with. And then he says this in verse 6. Listen to this one. I am tired of living among people who hate peace. I search for peace, but when I speak of peace, they want war. I'm tired of people. I'm tired of living among people who hate peace. That's where I'm at right now. I'm going to keep it up. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to give in. It's not that I don't see the blessings of my life. It's not that I don't see the potential for good. It's not that I don't know God's going to win because God's going to win. It's not that I don't know that the church is not only going to not fall apart, the church is going to rise up and take down the gates of hell. But I got to be honest, I'm tired of people who want to just keep fighting and arguing and attacking and maiming and gossiping and bullying. It just gets tiring sometimes. I picked up my phone a couple days ago, and so much of what was on social media could not have been more cruel, filled with hate. And I'm looking at the people's names who are doing it, and it's people I either know or somewhat know and love. And I'm like, let's get better than this. Let's just get better than this. Anybody else, are you tired of it? Are you tired of the hatred? Are you tired of the violence? Are you tired of the anger? By the way, and are we tired of the oppression? Because we should be tired of the oppression. Are we tired of people not getting justice and be shown kindness and mercy? It's good to be tired of that. But sometimes it's tiring to deal with. And that's what he's saying. And he said, I seek for peace, but when I speak of peace, they want war. So what does he do? He opens up. This is interesting. Jesus would have sung these words. Mary and Joseph would have sung these words. His brother James and Jude would have sung these words. All those who journeyed to Jerusalem would have sung these words. And they would have said, you know what? I'm going to start by being honest about what I see around me. I'm going to start by being honest to say that there's evil in this world. I'm going to start by being honest and cry out to God with the fact that godliness is not ruling the day in so many places and amongst so many people. So I'm going to start with that. By the way, what I believe when I read this, there's no complaining here. It's just saying, God, do you see? God, do you see? And recently, one reason I decided to share this with you is I turned on the news. Pam and I are trying to stay as caught up as we can. So some nights we'll watch 3 different newscasts. And I'm just watching and saying, this is like overload. This is too much. I said, Pam, are you tired? I'm tired of this. Let's take a break. Not that we won't get back into the fight. Not that we won't go and want to be a part of the solution. Not that we won't want to speak up and stand out and speak out. But sometimes it's good just to say, I want to break. So this psalmist says, God, I'm coming to you. I'm on the journey. We're going to go from the valley that's chaos, the valley of pain, the valley of the shadow of death, and we want to rise up and make the journey to where we move into your presence. We get filled with your peace. We become more than ever strengthened by your Spirit, and then we return back to become peacemakers. Because Jesus said these words, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. And you know what? For all the Crossroads family, let's be peacemakers, and we'll be called the children of God because we're his children. And let's be those who help people find peace with God, peace with others, peace within themselves. And sometimes the only way peace can be found, especially for a group of people, is if they also get justice. So let's be a part of that too. But we're going to do that. But I don't know if these words are meaningful to you, but today I'm just kind of more than ever pouring my heart out and telling you I see the answer. And the answer to me is let's make that journey to get closer and closer to the heart of God, the presence of God, and the power of God. So I want that for you. May God's Spirit be upon you. May his peace be in you. May you find opportunities today, tomorrow, or this week to get away from it all and just be with him, because that's the answer. Just read his word. Listen to praise music. I'm going to do this with nobody around me. I'm going to sing praise music. I don't ever do that with anybody around me, at least out loud. And, and just pray. Just really pray. And then love people. Go find some people who are just going to feed a good part of who you are, positive energy and vitality. And that's what I want for you. So may God's peace be with you. May his love be upon you. And may you know that God is for you. And if God is for you, nothing and no one can be against you. God bless you guys.